of the day, sponsored by Burger King. $0 delivery fee on the BK app and the BK.com. All right, guys, the NFL has confirmed that the draft will still happen at the end of the month, with teams communicating virtually. And some teams have reportedly voiced some concern about the fact that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones will be able to work side by side because they're family from the same location. So, Shannon, I start with you. Do you have a problem that Jerry and Stephen can do this thing together while in isolation?
Absolutely not. Hell no. Skip, did you see the draft they put together last year? It was horse manure. So they should let them be together again, Skip. Do you see the draft that the Cowboys have? What teams are doing, Skip, is that they're trying to make excuses when they bomb again in the draft. And Skip, they bomb every year. We've seen draft rooms. The owner, the head coach, position coaches, scouts, general managers, everybody's in the room. And they still get it wrong. Now they're trying to make an excuse for if we get it wrong this year, this is why. And if the Cowboys get it right, Jerry and Stephen were together. Man, stop this. Worry about you. Don't worry about what the Cowboys, I don't care if they got Charlotte, if they got Jerry Jr., they got Stevens. I don't care who they got in the draft room. I'm worried about what I'm worried about. Skip, the way the draft normally works, you have your board already set up. Now, if this guy's available, we're taking him. Now, we know the draft, you get somebody, Skip, might fall that you're like, there's no way we thought when we're picking, this guy would be available. And you grab him. Other than that, what are we talking about? Man, y'all need to stop making these excuses for when you bomb in the draft. You've been doing it for years. Whether you're on virtual, whether you're next door, I don't care. You mess up, and they just looking for a reason, Skip, well, Jerry and Stephen, because they're related, they could be in the same room. Skip, this is one of the most ridiculous things, but it just goes to show you, when we want to find something to complain about, Skip, we'll find the dumbest, the bull-jivest stuff to complain about when there's nothing here. There's nothing here.
Okay, time out. But before I respond to Jerry and Stephen having an advantage because they're related sitting side by side, which is insane to me, I gotta counter you. You said, what did you call last year's draft, like garbage? You realize they didn't have a first-round pick last year because it went for Amari Cooper, and as many problems as I had with Amari on the road last year, yeah, I'll take him as a first-round pick because he changed Dak Prescott's life. And then look at Connor McGovern. Nobody really knows him yet. No, I don't. It seems like they swung and missed, but maybe he's just a late bloomer because he's very young and undeveloped yet. So maybe he's sort of an ugly duckling, if you will. So Connor McGovern, they got out of Penn State. He played center at Penn State, and I think he's going to fit right in for Travis Frederick. Will he be as good as Travis? I think he'll be credible. And then, remember the guy you called Mike Pollard in training camp because you were making fun of him? Tony Pollard can play as a backup, right, to Zeke. So I think I got that one right off one preseason game. I said, that kid can play. And by the end of the year, I think you said, that kid can play. So I don't think that was a garbage draft last year. And he's all right, yeah. Okay, so obviously, Jerry Jones has had final say in every Cowboy draft going back to 1989. Jerry always bragged about how he coached the coach. That he told, he sort of governed Jimmy's emotions, that Jimmy could go a little high and a little low, and he would say, no, how about this? How about that? Oh, that's a good idea. Go for that. And Jerry, all through, let's just do this decade. We just had the team of the decade. I think Jerry, if I'm going to give him credit for final say, has drafted extremely well over this decade. So, again, back to the question, Jerry and Stephen have no advantage. There are these things called cell phones. There is this thing called the computer, the internet. There's this thing called Zoom. There's this other thing called FaceTime. I don't know. Everybody can just have instantaneous communication virtually. So I don't know what advantage you have side by side. Obviously, Will McClay helps build the draft board for Dallas. He makes recommendations that Jerry has to sign off on. But the classic one was 2014. Remember, Jerry wanted Johnny Manziel, and it was the 16th overall pick. And I didn't blame him because I love Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M, but I kept saying, if you tell me he's got any substance abuse problems, I am out. And he did, and I'm out.
Right.
But Jerry finally was out in the 11th hour because I believe Stephen and Will McClay said, hey, this kid at Notre Dame, he could be a perennial Pro Bowler. And they took Zach Martin 16th overall. That's an all-time steal. He's still 29 years of age. He's made 6 straight Pro Bowls, 4 first-team All-Pros. My goodness, I mean, that's a Hall of Fame.
All-decade.
So I think he got a Hall of Fame offensive guard. Yeah, all-decade team. And if we go back to 2011, the other all-decade player is the left tackle, Tyron Smith. And again, they could have had J.J. Watt with the, that was the 9th overall pick. I'll take Tyron Smith over J.J. Watt. He's stayed healthier, even though he's had his back issues, but he's mostly played, and he's been a perennial Pro Bowl player. And then Travis Frederick in 2013, they traded all the way back to 31 and still landed him out of Wisconsin. He was on a Hall of Fame arc until he had his autoimmune deficiency syndrome, and they lost him. And maybe, God bless him, I'm knocking on wood here, maybe he'll bounce back at some point. But then I look at the rest of the drafts. Byron Jones at the 27th overall. But again, I wasn't a big fan because he can't catch the ball or go intercept the ball. But again, it was a good pick in the first round. He just got the highest cornerback money in the history of the league. 2016 draft it's a Hall of Fame draft. I mean, it's obviously Zeke and then Dak in the 4th round, but they got Jalen Smith on a flyer in the 2nd round, and Malik Collins, and I can just go down the list, Anthony Brown all the way down in the 6th round. It was loaded with starters and stars. And then 2017, they missed on Taco, but they got Awuzie and Jordan Lewis and Xavier Woods. They got 3 starters out of that. They got Wolf Hunter, Leighton Vander Esch the next year. They got Michael Gallup the next year. I think Jerry is drafted extremely well. Most people thought going into last year that the Dallas Cowboys were the most talented team in pro football. That's why I picked them to get to the Super Bowl last year. So to me, how can you make fun of this? How can you ridicule the decade of drafting, because he drafted 2 all-decade players and the most talented team in pro football? I think Jerry's done not just pretty well, he's done great.
But Skip, that's my point, is that Will McClay, Jerry Jones is not watching tape on no college players. Stephen Jones is not watching tape. That's Will McClay, that's the scouting job. They put this board together and says, okay, if it shapes up how we think, that's what everybody should be doing. It doesn't, Jerry can be in Bali. Stephen can be in Timbuktu. The board is set. All they're going to do, Skip, if this comes, and what do you do, Skip? If you want to make a call, what do? You pick up the phone. It's not like everybody's in one big room, like you got all 32 teams in one big room, and somebody walks across the stage and says, hey, man, we want to make a trade with you. What you do, Skip, you pick up the phone and you call. Okay, you run it by the NFL, they green light it, okay, you good. So what's the difference? Skip, my only point, and what you mentioned, like their 1st round pick really was Amari Cooper because that's what they gave up to get Amari, was a 1st round pick. Okay, fine, I give you that. But I'm just saying is that teams are trying to make excuses. Because if they fail and the Cowboys get this draft, let's just say, Skip, they draft, say, 2-3 Pro Bowlers in the 2020 draft. Everybody's want to point back, well, the reason why Jerry and Stephen, that ain't got nothing to do with it. They were together when they drafted some guys that didn't pan out. They were together. So look, you set your board how you set your board. If this guy's available, this who we want. If something were to happen, Skip, there's a player that we had no idea. We never thought that when we're selecting would be available. You take him. What's the deal? What's the problem?
Okay, Shannon, here's how it works with Jerry. Let's just say Dallas is picking this year 17th. Let's just say, for sake of argument, that all of a sudden a receiver and a cornerback fall to 17, shockingly, that you say, man, we've got them both like 2-3 on our draft board. Jerry, should we go cornerback or receiver? We desperately need a cornerback because we lost Byron Jones, but hey, if we could get whoever, maybe it's CeeDee Lamb. I don't know who. Maybe it's Ruggs. I don't know which receiver
Ruggs,
where they
CeeDee
say,
Lamb,
gee,
Judy.
we've got him so high. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe Judy falls to him. I don't know. You never know. There's always some curveball in the first round of the draft. What if they're sitting there? It's up to Jerry Jones to say yes or no, right or left. Fork in the road. It always falls to Jerry to say, I think we need that cornerback. Let's go with the Florida kid, Henderson at cornerback. So, again, no other owner that I know of has that kind of final say down to the wire on draft night. But Jerry's also, as you know, the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. So, no, Jerry's not going to break down tape, but he's going to sit in on all the draft, sort of reviews when they have their skull sessions about how the board's shaping up. He's going to hear the capsules on each of the kids they've ranked, and then he's going to go on his gut feeling. And you can say, Jerry doesn't really know football that well. Well, he played college football as a starting offensive guard on a national championship team, so he has some feel for it. And sometimes he just has a crazy gut feeling that can prove right. He's been proved wrong a lot. But I think with Will McClay's help through the last decade, they've been really good. And I'm going to trust Jerry on the night of that draft to make the right call.
Yeah, Skip, and you mentioned no other owner kind of wants that. They kind of want to do other things. That's why they hire people. Jerry hired people and paid them a king's ransom and then and then micromanages them what they do. But here's the trick, Skip. Let's just say for the sake of argument, they're at 17, and one of these DBs or one of these receivers are still there. Somebody calls Jerry, you move back, we'll give you swap with us. Take our first round pick, which is 25. We'll also throw in a 2 and a 5. That's where but Skip, that's a phone call. That's what was going to happen whether Jerry and Stephen was in the same room at home or in the draft room in Valley Ranch. That doesn't change.
I agree. And to your point, I've heard reports that maybe that they want to expand the time that you have in the first round because it's all virtual. Well, to your point, it was all virtual anyway. It's all on the telephone. I don't get it. So I don't think they need more time. I think they'll be just fine.
Right.
I know you guys are with me, counting down the days until the draft. All right, we got to talk more Tom Brady. Will we see Brady play for another 6 years? That's next on Undisputed.